Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. So it's bonus video time, right? I have another video coming up at 8 p.m., the usual time slot, right? So this is video I'm going to touch on a few points that I got when I was reading the news. So last night's video, point number 3 was about how there's a long winter in China markets and how there's a US recession coming. And today, when I was reading the news, I saw a headline in Channel News Asia that says global funds dumped another 3 billion US dollars in China stocks in October. So this is the latest, right? So it provides an update to last night's video, which talked about a long winter in China markets and how the yuan, the Chinese yuan, the country's currency is also at its lowest in 16 years as global funds rush for the exit. Right. So China is having many challenges. There's no doubt about it, and not going away anytime soon. So if you're staying invested in China, because we're confident that it will recover one day, we just don't know when. Make sure we size our positions appropriately. Don't be overexposed. Don't be overly optimistic, right? But don't think China is going the way of the dodo, right? So that's the first thing I want to talk about, and that's about China. Second thing is about financially stressed people. So this is something I've talked about from time to time in my blog and now in my YouTube channel, and that's don't be overly leveraged, right? Because you don't know when shit might hit the fan. Then you don't want to be one of those that gets splattered by shit, right? So we're talking about financially stressed people, and in this instance specifically is about the Americans, right? Because I watched a video by CNBC, and it says what's bugging the Americans and what are they stressed about. 75% are stressed with inflation, 45% stressed that they don't have enough retirement savings, 32% are stressed about housing costs and debt which they have, and 13% are stressed about their job security, right? So inflation, I guess that is self-explanatory. High inflation rate, high inflation environment, and of course that leads to the Fed tightening and of course increasing interest rates rapidly, and of course that led to 32% of Americans feeling stressed up about debt because financing costs has gone up so much, right? So I say if we are prudent financially, we can deal with inflation. There are always options available, right? Like I said, why do we have to go to a private clinic when we can go to a polyclinic, for example? And the cost difference is huge. Why must we eat at fancy restaurants? We can eat at hawker centers, and we can even cook at home to lower our costs, for example. So we have options. We don't need a car. We can take public transport, which is very good in Singapore, very fortunately. Right, and then of course they say Americans are feeling stressed about retirement savings. 45% feel that they don't have enough. Well, take action, right, and start saving for retirement early, right? Take full advantage of our CPF system, invest for income to give it a boost, for example, so that we have a bigger nest egg in future, right? So, but people are feeling stressed up, especially if they have not been financially prudent and they have taken on too much debt and they don't have an emergency fund or an adequate emergency fund. People feel stressed up. So that's the numbers from America. And when you look at this, right, in aggregate, right, how many people are really feeling stressed up? 21% are having severe stress. 26% having moderate stress, 37% have slight stress, and only 16% don't feel any stress. And I think we can guess who are those 16, who form those 16% people who don't feel any stress. They're probably financially prudent people who have everything well in place. It's either that or there are people who are not 100% up there mentally, and actually they have problems. They don't know they have problems. So I'll leave a link in the description box below to that video, right, if in case you want to watch it. Then the third thing is hard to be hopeful, right? This not my words, they are ex-President Obama's words, and I also leave a link to that video in the description box below. It said former President Barack Obama delivered remarks in Chicago where he noted that the world feels more unstable and more dangerous than it has in a long time. Right? Then he's talk about the ongoing war in Israel, and of course he also mentioned about Ukraine. And he says that it's hard to be hopeful during this time, and all these environmental issues as well, and of course economic issues is difficult time to feel hopeful, right? But you know what AK would say, don't feel overly optimistic, don't feel overly pessimistic. There is always hope. It's hard to feel hopeful maybe, but there is always hope, and as long as we stay pragmatic, I think we can come out of all this on top, right? And I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. The next thing I want to talk about is Berkshire Hathaway, right? This is also latest revelation is that Berkshire Hathaway is now sitting on 157 billion US dollars in cash, and that's because they can't find any good deals to get into, right? Valuations are not attractive, right? So how the newscaster says that there is a deals drought. There's a drought when it comes to potential deals for Warren Buffett. So basically, it's not seeing any value, right? So this allows me to give a little spoiler about the video that's coming up at 8 p.m. And that is how I said I say in that video that DBS, although its third quarter net profit rose 18%, most of the gains are behind us. When we realize that the 9-month net profit actually increased 95%, not 95, 35%. So the net profit gain is still profitable, but the gains seem to be slowing down. So most of the big gains are behind us. So we want to be prudent. We want to be less adventurous. And like I say, cash is not trash. And Buffett seems to agree as well, because his cash pile is now at a record high of 157 billion US dollars. And having more cash will give us more options later on when Mr. Market goes into a depression. Like I say, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if AK can talk to himself, so can you. Bye bye.